So we are going to make our free Block Mania block, which is going to be a summer block using these colors. It's a bucket and shovel in the sand. There's our background. This is our sand. This will be our bucket. This is the handle and shovel, and this is the rim on the bucket. The free pattern on our blog will show you how to do it the traditional way, but I'm going to use our Cricut Maker to cut the shapes to see how it will work. This is new for us in the studio. I just want to see what happens when we cut it. I will make the SVG files available with the free pattern, so if somebody else has a maker and wants to do it, they're welcome to do that. So let's get started. So first I've cut all the pieces for the different things, and I put fusible web on the back using Heat and Bond Featherlight. So these are all the fabrics. Let's see here, I cut the orange for the rim. I cut 3 by 10 inches. The yellow for the bucket handle and shovel is 6 by 12 inches. The peach dots is 9 by 12 inches. And then this is the background, and this is our sand. And we're not going to cut this on the Cricut, but what I did do is I ironed a 3-inch piece of fusible web on the back because I want to make my sand look wavy. Here's a sketch of it. I want it to look wavy back there. So what I'll do is with the fusible web, I will just draw a wavy line. No template needed. And then we're just going to cut on the line. So now I can just iron this onto my background. And then we'll cut these, iron them on, and we can finish all the edges at that point. Okay, so I've drawn my curve. I've cut my curve. I'm going to peel the paper off of this. And I can take this over to the ironing board, and I can press my sand down. Now we need to cut our stuff on our Cricut, and I've done an SVG file. Let's see, I'll flip this so you can see it. There we go. And let's get out of here. I'll show you what I did. So the SVG file is already colored. So when you bring it in, it'll already separate the yellow, the peach, and the orange. Then when you hit make it, it sorts it onto your mats. So this is the peach mat, the orange mat, and then the yellow mat. So we got all 3. So now I'm just going to put these on a cutting mat and run them through the Cricut, and we should be ready to assemble. Now we got to make sure we have our rotary cutter, or bonded fabric cutter. So I've done it with the rotary cutter, but there is also this bonded fabric cutter, and I have not tried it. So we're going to try that on this project. So you just drop the blade in. There it is. And to get the blade out, you just push that button and it comes right out. So we're going to try that foot today. So the machine will say that's the foot you need, and you can override it. But in this case, we're going to go with that one. And we're going to use a new fabric mat for this. I've only had the machine a couple of weeks, so I haven't really gotten to do a lot with it. But I think in a quilting studio, it will be extremely handy for projects like this. So fabric mat, we're going to take off the coat paper, and we're going to keep this to put back on when we're done. These will wear out, and this grip is different than the standard Cricut mats. You can't, what do you call it? You can't scrape it off. It will take the adhesive off as well. So this is telling me to put this like this. And then the other thing I have learned in the 2+ weeks or 3 weeks I've had this is to brayer it down. So I've gotten a Cricut brayer, but any brayer probably would work. And I'm just going to roll it out and make sure I don't have any air holes in it, air pockets. If you do, just pull it up and push it out. All right, so here's our first one. And you do want to put fabric down and fusible up. And I don't need to mirror it in the machine because I've already reversed the templates for the pattern, and that's what these are reversed. I'm just going to verify that before I cut. Yes, it's already mirrored, so I don't have to do it. All right, so then you load this guy in. Oh, gotta first say continue. Talking to my machine. Set my material. All right, and then I want to load this in. All right, and then I'm going to ask for a little more pressure. I've noticed I like more pressure there. And we're going to load that, and we're going to hit go. There we go. It's cutting. So instead of having to trace it, iron it, then cut it, we can just load it in the machine and it'll do all of that in one step. Now, one thing I have learned, and we're going to check it here, is you always check to see if it cut all the way through before you take it, before you unload it, because right now it's not, it's aligned. So see, look, it's going to come right out. So we can just unload it. Had I pulled this back and it hadn't cut all the way through, I could hit the C again and recut it, and it's perfectly aligned. If I unload it and then reload it, you're never going to get it to align correctly. So just always double check before you pull it out. So there is my bucket and interior. And I need I like to use a spatula to take these off, so I'm not touching my mat. It'll let the mat, last longer. So there's one piece. There's the other piece. And you're going to get these little strings on this. Don't worry about it. You can use a lint roller to take them off, but I don't worry about it. It doesn't affect the cut. So we got those two done. So now the next thing is the orange, which is this guy. So we're going to line him up on my mat, and I'm going to brayer it down. You'll hear him doing dishes in the back. All right. Move this in. Ready to cut. So that's that is done. Again, check that it went through, and it did. Bring it out. All right, that's waste. That's our bucket rim. There's the interior of the bucket. I'm not sure I like that interior, but we were gonna see. Nope. Oh, my rivet didn't come out. What happened with the rivet? So we'll figure out the rivet, but I'm going to save a scrap piece of this because I can recut that. And then the last one is mat 3, and we're going to edit this to bring this down here. I'm going to bring this down. So that's the other thing, is you can go in and edit your mat. If like it wanted a shorter, squatter piece, I have a longer, skinnier piece, so I can just rearrange my pieces really easily. Okay. Ready to cut. And check, we're good. Unload. So there's the shovel bottom. There's the bucket handle. And that's the shovel's handle. And the little rivet. So now we need to recut the rivet because it's the only one that didn't do what I wanted it to do. So we're going to go back to here. And we are going to hide everything but the rivet. I think that will do it. So then we come over here and I'm going to move it down in there. Put this guy on. And this should take 1 second to cut. Continue. So you have to pick your material every time, and when you find the ones you like, you can star them to make them your favorites. I think for quilting, medium fabrics bonded works great for when you have fusible web, or medium fabric when you don't have fusible web. And then pressure, I just do more pressure. I know your mats will wear out faster, but I'd rather get the cut all the way through. And then we're gonna load it. And we're gonna cut it. And while I was cutting these, I went over and I pressed my sand down on here, so it's only to there. Now if I had made this 12.5, which I in hindsight should have, it's like 12.25, I could cut this background excess away and just leave it like that, but I didn't, so we will have double layer there. All right, this is done and it's cut right this time. Get this off the mat. There's our little rivet. So we're done with the cutter for the moment. And now we can assemble our bucket and shovel on our background here and take it to the ironing board and iron it. So because I'm going to do it here and carry it over there, I'm going to put a ruler underneath so I have a tray to carry this with. And I need a pin. We're going to pull this over so you guys can see better. All right, so we're ready to assemble the bucket on here. So if you do crack and peel, you scratch the back, it creates a crack and peel. And I can just take the paper off. And I'm going to look at my picture as a guide. So I think that looks about right. That's the bucket interior. And let's see, how does this go? This is the rim. All right, and then the handle. And I apologize for the dishes in the back. I really wanted to just get this made and I was impatient and didn't wait till it was quieter. So, and then we put our little rivets. That goes like that. Oh, you know what? I had the handle backwards. There we go. I was like, wow, that rivet doesn't fit. Now it fits. Look at that, just like that. And then we're gonna put our shovel down. And I could have done the shovel as one piece, but I thought it looked more realistic with the handle being separate from the scoop. So the scoop looks like this. It looks like it's in the sand. And then the handle goes like that. So by looking at this and looking at my picture, my bucket needs to move over just a hair. And this comes down a little. I think I had this upside down. That's why, like our bigger patterns, we give you a placement drawing, but this is just a little freebie one and it's easy enough to eyeball. So I didn't do one for this. There we go. Now that's, nope, I can still see blue. No blue. I've made this piece bigger, so it should be, there we go. Now everything's covered. My handle, I think I want to put it down a little further. And the shovel goes like this. And there we go. That's our sand bucket, which I'm still finicky here. I'm going to press this down and finish the edges. And I'll show it to you when it's all done. So we're going to finish the edges of our applique using a blanket stitch, an open toe foot, and I have my needle in the needle down position, which means that when you stop sewing, the needle will stay down. I'm just bringing up the bobbin thread through the top. I don't do that every time, but when I start, I usually do it just to make sure I've got everything aligned. There is always a center line on your foot. That center line should run along the edge of my fabric because the stitch has a edge, a straight part and a bite, a straight and a bite. You want the straight to go on the outer edge of your fabric and the bite to actually go into the fabric. And that's how the blanket stitch is going to finish the edge. So we're just going to go slow here. And you can see where that needle is going down into the yellow and the bite is going into the orange. I'm using an Aurifil 50 weight cotton in a salmon color. And I'm going to use the salmon on everything, including the yellow, so that it outlines it and makes it pop. And you'll see when I get to a point, I just lift my foot and pivot. Lift, pivot. And then in this case, I'm going to go over the first stitch with the last stitch to lock it in place, and then one reverse stitch. Then we can get rid of these tails. You can get rid of the tails anytime they're in your way. Then I just lift it up and I travel over to the edge. I don't cut my threads. I will cut those at the end. All right, and then we just cut our little tails, our little threads from traveling. And then I'll bring it on over to the other table so you can see it all finished. So here is our Bunches of Fun free quilt block this month. It'll be on our blog post on July 7th. The stitching is all done on the edges. You can see now by doing it with the, this is 5002, it's Aurifil 50 weight. It makes the yellow pop, it makes the sand pop, it just makes it a little brighter, a little happier. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you download the block and make it. Like I said, I will give you both the SVG files and the reversed templates that you can download and make, and hop on over to all the other blogs. There should be lots of fun summer blocks for you to look at this month. So next month we'll be doing a free block for back to school. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, make sure you like and subscribe below. You can find the Whimsical Workshop on our website, thewhimsicalworkshop.com, and that has all links to all of our other social media platforms. Thanks for joining us.